Alright, so we have Maxor Project Wingman review. Nuclear planes defeat the Antichrist. I believe this is his latest video. And you know, Maxor is enjoyable to watch and people enjoy watching him on the YouTube as well. Even though on the Genshin Impact video, they came for me, dude. They came for me. The weebs
Project
came for me.
Wingman is a game which...
Where that says spoilers and epilepsy warning. It doesn't say autism warning, so I'm all good.
Project Wingman is a game which encapsulates and defines the term
noise,
competitive genocide. In a world where Yellowstone National Park has had enough, humanity is plunged into a post-apocalypse where the laws of war are null and void. We play as a mute, possibly autistic psychopath held out on his mission to fight the Australian Illuminati, featuring such notable species as the land battleship, the battleship, and the battle boss, across a multitude of varied and interesting locations like the apocalyptic wasteland that is Los Angeles. Caught in the middle of a conflict between the Pacific Federation and Cascadia, our protagonist is forced to put aside his fight with Jack Sparrow in Louisiana to conduct a second American Revolution and facilitate tax evasion. As a member of the Sicario mercenary group, you're given the tools of destruction you need to fight off the Antichrist. Because in this universe, the UN does not solve conflict, it starts it and then escalates it. So like most problems in the world, we resort instead to base violence as a means of international dispute. Bring your jets, your guns, your bombs, and your napalms, because we're going absolute Babylon.
A game made for Americans here.
Good. We live in a society where this is canonically as expensive as a Mercedes and holds 182 missiles. So if you want to see a parade of destruction, melodrama, questionable engineering choices, and King Crimson, then let me be your guide into the wonderful world of Project Wingman, humanity's first jet-centric game where California finally explodes.
What we've all been waiting for.
Now, I know what you're...
You know, that whole intro, I know he was talking and I caught bits of it, but there's so much going on the screen with all their popping up images and explosions and shit and noises. Like, it's so distracting. No wonder he has an epilepsy warning.
You're thinking, a jet game, Max? You've gone insane. Jet games are played by dads that have 12 keyboards and people with actual
like
money.
Flying
and
Simulator.
While it may appear to you that I have money, it's only because I spend it very responsibly. You will be happy to know that Project Wingman is neither a simulation nor has it dug into my extensive budget. I would describe the game as more about piloting a slow Gundam than the actual intricacies of real air combat. Only in Project Wingman can you do the boss fight against the guy with 12 railguns and his force fields. And yes, the force fields do turn into railguns, just like real life. Most people think that jet combat is just about circling, and yeah, that's a thing. But the difference is in how it's contextualized and iterated on, which is by...
What is that game where like, you always see those dudes and they got like 5 arse monitors and they have like the plane game? Is it called Flight Simulator? Or like the jet one? Microsoft Flight Simulator? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Insane people. One mission you might be firefighting, and the next thing you know, Crimson 1 appears for the 6th time near the active volcano. How many flight games do you know include lava damage? And do you want to know the best part? The game is fully playable in VR. Please don't use a keyboard, which allows you to do some goofy shit, like physically exiting
VR would give
in
me
the middle of a battle. Okay, it's a little windy, but I'm ready. Does anyone else feel lightheaded? I will say though that in order to get the real VR experience, you'll have to repeatedly rotate your head with the light brick strapped to it. I lasted 4
my
missions
alarm is like that default alarm. It's like wah wah. Yeah, that one. That's my default alarm. Sounds like a nuclear meltdown. Look how many alarms there are here. Okay, look. Can you guys see this? I have one for every hour of the day. Okay, but the problem is that not all of them have that sound. So the ones that I don't wake up to have some stupid like sound that doesn't wake me up, but the ones that have the nuclear meltdown, of course, because I've slept that every hour of the day.
Average before the recoiling permanently morphed my spine. You use the radar in your plane by physically looking down, not that you'll be able to by the end. Reviewing the footage, I noticed that there were moments in the game where I just died. That's not me taking off the headset, I just gave up on life. No game will ever make you feel this old, and nothing increases the immersion more than specifically choosing planes with as little visibility as possible for the extra challenge. I beat the entire game in 2 painful sessions, but I had never experienced anything like this ever since my house nearly burned down while playing VTOL VR.
What the fuck?
So in terms
My
of
house
VR, it's a
burned down.
must-have, because only in VR can we express the true, paralyzing fear of driving.
Oh my god.
So how do we fly our death machine?
classic.
VR controls, after all, are difficult. Mr. Smart Guy over here thinks he knows how hands
Bazinga.
work. First of all, you'll need to get inside your real Project Wingman trademark plane. Turn on the main battery, whatever this is. Turn on the engines, but not too fast. Close your canopy. Clasp the shitting grip. Display. I don't know what this does. Boot Windows. Microsoft Pinball. Smash that radar button. Hit subscribe.
Why is there so
Turn
much
off
to
the
do?
brakes. Make sure you give the joystick a good jiggle. Now, we're not going to use the carrier's catapult. We're just going to pray. You'll notice I forgot to unfold the wings, which are now detached from the plane. Wingless percent speed run. Landing gear. You'll notice controlling an aircraft without wings is hard. That's all right.
Yeah,
The
I
guys on that
imagine.
destroyer don't have family. Now that we're in the air and in the correct game, what am I supposed to
If
do?
a jet actually hit an aircraft carrier like that, would the whole thing explode? I doubt it. Maybe the whole jet would just blow up. I don't know about the aircraft carrier, though.
The answer is remarkably simple. Missiles. There's a reason you can carry several hundred of them. Missiles are fucking everything. Every specialized weapon for all your terrestrial needs are various permutations of a missile. It's actually a problem because, I mean, I guess you could use unguided bombs if you want to miss. Ace Combat at least had the gall to let me use an unguided laser, but I don't know, what else can you put on a jet? A fucking dolphin? I don't want to
Dolphin.
emulate the Wii. You also have the option of a gun, which might as well be a laser, and is the most reliable way to kill anything, including entire battleships. What is in the fucking ammo? If normal bullets worked like this,
But the guy in the jet is fucked. I mean, the guy in the jet is dead. Unless he has some ejector seat, but still.
Chicago would be a nuclear wasteland by tomorrow, as opposed to the current wasteland that it is now. Besides that, the controls are exactly what I want out of a jet game, and I don't think they can be improved. What truly makes a combat encounter in the game isn't the simple controls, it's how they're multiplied by the 6 pursuing aircraft. Unlike Ace Combat 7, your allies have the ability to minorly inconvenience each other. They will do, per mission, at least $3 of damage. So the balance between you annihilating everything and there being an actual battle is pretty good, although majorly stacked. Your success is uniquely predicated on the fact that you play as the world's first bloodless human who experiences literally no side effects from the Jupiter strength G-forces that he regularly conducts. You use your newfound power to conduct a series of engagements. 21 engagements. That's a lot of potential war crime trials, which is why we have to win. That being said, anything that we do pales in
What is a
comparison
war
to the
crime,
good accomplished
though?
by nuking America. We're gonna have to play.
Like, what do people get tried on for war crimes? Is that like being a betraying, or like, I guess, like doing grape on the citizens or something? That is a war.
Catch up. Our liberation will take us all across the video game against all manner of foes, including the planes, the big planes, armies
I
of
just assume
helpless
it's
soldiers
crime
with
for
families and
when
dogs,
you're in the
and
army.
the Federation
Oh,
fleet.
not
Wait,
war.
who is that on my screen? Oh, I mean,
Joker.
oh, fuck. But what
Clown
really stands out
Taurus.
are the boss fights. Yes, the plane game with boss fights. Shinji, get in the plane. We have to fight the angels or some shit. As for their weaponry, well, it's not physically possible. In order,
Basically
you
nuke
fight
America,
Crimson
I
Squadron.
guess.
Crimson Squadron. French woman and her Australian babe.
woman.
It's 4 p.m. Time to get in the plane. Crimson Squadron. And Crimson Squadron's very angry nuclear enthusiast. More about him later. He's a guy. You can probably
He's a
tell
guy.
by his character and the dialogue that keeps the game alive. Project Wingman would be an entirely different game if you weren't constantly hearing more complaining than a fucking
Look at the time. It's 4 p.m. That's not a guy.
call center. Silence is so rare
You're a
that when
guy.
your ally flips his shit and demands people stop fucking talking, that it's character and the dialogue that keeps the game alive.
That's a man.
Project Wingman would be an entirely different
Did I miss something?
game if you weren't constantly hearing more complaining than a fucking call center. Silence is so rare that when your ally
just
flips
tell me what I
his shit
missed.
and demands people stop fucking talking, everyone is surprised. So just by playing the game, you get a lot of lore. So I think it's a good
There's
time
lore?
to talk about that. Our story begins, like many, in
Shrek.
Wyoming, where Yellowstone National Park does a little trolling, causing
Does
the
anything
tectonic
happen in
plates to
Wyoming?
fucking rupture. In
Oh,
an
he said it's 4 p.m. and it's 4. Oh.
instant, the entire modern age and Christianity in particular is ended. This, however,
Ah.
created a mysterious, volatile material called cordium, which effectively gave everyone free geothermal energy. and also bombs. What emerged hundreds of years later are the countries of the Pacific, Neo-Mongolia, large Hawaii, Oceania, and Cascadia. Oceania in particular was once invaded by a cabal of mercenaries attempting to establish diamond dogs or some shit. Thank God that we had Skullface there to help us out. In fact, nearly every military engagement since then has been swayed exclusively by methed up mercenaries. To prevent further challenges to their rule, the Federation tightened its power to include all of the death squads. But primarily, Cascadia was just mad that other people were allowed to use the limitless supply of energy that they had and wanted to sell it to everyone else at a ridiculous markup. This sets the scene for a war of independence which you are caught in the middle of, or rather, insert yourself into for money. Now the thing is, Cascadia is a real nation that exists in the imagination of insufferable people, so I can attest that the geography of where I live is well suited to guerrilla warfare. The entire Cascadian fleet, for instance, is one stolen ship called the Eminent Domain. The Federation, though, is not without a contingency plan. All across their empire, the Federation establishes peacekeepers, that's the real name, elite fighter squadrons of questionable sanity and engagement timing. The peacekeepers are so confident that they arrive late to every single battle that they're in. This directly causes their failure 90% of the time, by the way. The peacekeepers we encounter are the Crimson Squadron, one such group of elite so dedicated that they risked losing their entire air force, went to a volcanic suicide mission, and nuked millions of people because you owned them. Their squadron is led by the infamous and powerful Crimson One, who was elected the whitest among all Oregonians. Unfortunately, he's quite dedicated. Crimson One's idea of protecting his homeland under the banner of the Federation involves nuking it. Twice. It's like he's trying to make anime. He's saving his people from the pain of living. What barbarism will people slip into if we don't have the common travel passes? He's a blast to fight, unlike his friends. I wouldn't consider fighting his squadron to be the peak of gameplay. The game's bosses can be divided into two categories. Bosses that have railguns and this shit. You dodge the Crimson Squadron's missiles by rapidly turning as they approach. But Crimson Squadron themselves are always rapidly turning, sometimes at a 90-degree angle, meaning there is no nuance. While pursuing them, you are invincible. Here's how you fight Crimson Squadron. Turn towards them. Fire a missile. Miss. Fire a missile. Repeat like 10 times until they die. Oh, and you gotta do this like 8 different times for each individual plane. I am progressively losing my mind. My name is Wait,
what the hell was that?
8 different times for each individual plane. I am progressively losing my mind.
What's going on here?
My name is Cleveland Brown. All in all, dogfights and lore, you know, that's pretty cool, but that's not why you should play the game. Project Wingman is the manic pixie dream girl of vehicle combat. Most battles feature building-sized sky ships. That was an entire boss in Ace Combat 7, and the game's just like, well, have 2 of them fight. Fuck it, you use the lasers. Everything you do has a specific melodramatic reason as part of the wider narrative, and just watching that unfold and how it affects gameplay is the real draw. I see no other way of highlighting how this works than to show you, because Project Wingman is a game that you really need to see to believe.
Holy, I need a break. My senses have been overloaded. My brain cannot handle it. My brain gonna explode. I don't remember anything, neither do I. It's so much.
I liked it so much that I made a graph out of it, printed out the graph, and showed it to my neighbors.
I don't know, that's why it's so great.
Can you look at my graph? Our first act begins with an insertion into Cascadia. There's money to be made, people to kill, and most mercenaries are still mad about the Australian incident. But it's obvious that relying on a single mute man is bad. So you're forced to watch as Los Angeles is bombed. Oh no, the horror. It's time to revise our strategy, rethink our options, bomb our own energy sources. This way, no one will get them, except Crimson One, who sees you doing this and gets mad. This will be a theme. Now it's time to steal a boat. We really need that boat, Monarch. It's imperative that you get the boat. By the way, while defending said boat, we make the discovery that cruise missiles in this universe are pigeon-guided and exhibit traits of self-preservation. Now the war is really going on, like really going on. It's time to target a civilian airport because it will help the war. We're denying them potential recruits. They don't even know that they're being bombed because the Federation has been able to keep the war a secret for the past few weeks. This is due to the Great Firewall, which patriotically jams all the Wi-Fi across the entire country. There is only one course of action for me when denied of my YouTube. Violence. A lot of violence. Meanwhile, off the coast of fucking...
No YouTube equals violence. No internet equals violence.
Alaska, the Federation is sending transport aircraft to help in the war effort. These aircraft were...
To be fair, having no internet sucks. Like, when I have no internet, even if it's for like a day, that shit is fucking... Oh, that's so bad.
intercepted, and then the interception was intercepted, progressing for 9 hours until the entire air force of the two nations are fighting in the same place.
Yeah, but
and
what if you can't afford data?
It's time to talk about that.
You know how much data watching streams takes?
Mission 11 is Project Wingman.
You watch 30 minutes of Twitch with 3 gigabytes
design, every character screaming into my ears at the same time. It is beyond perfect. An epic battle between two titans swayed only by a single mute psychopath. And that music. This track got me pregnant. I think this is a great time to talk about it because the music always fits. Whether it's low tones for a sneaky insertion or a beautiful symphony rising as you descend into battle. I played this mission without the soundtrack, you know, just to torture myself, and it's literally required. This game wouldn't be good without it, and that's a serious testament to the great work that's being done. Also, Crimson One is here, late as usual, and you just beat his ass. Kept in a top-secret facility somewhere on the American continent, there is a woman. You have to track them down. It's for the war effort. So you raid the woman containment facility off the coast of Yellowstone, and she boards her fucking super aircraft with railguns and the turn radius of a nickel. Woman eliminated. Now, let's go down the list. Attack Hawaii for no reason. That's on the list. Attack people in a forest fire. That is definitely on the list. Save civilian lives. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not on the list. It's time to retake Seattle with the Federation in retreat and the war nearly won. With the Air Force in disarray, we're just one step away from... If you're surprised by this, you weren't really watching the video. Do you remember how I said that the Federation basically nukes all of Cascadia? That isn't actually true. It's worse. The Federation didn't just want to nuke us to win the war. They activated all of the cordium deposits in the ground. And do you remember when I said those were used for bombs? That's right. These fuckers just started a second apocalypse. In other video games, war is hell. But in Project Wingman, war is fucking orange. On our way back, we're assaulted again by the same woman. But at this point, I don't care. My retinas are damaged. The Fallout New Vegas part of the game has begun, and we're being sent to seize all of the bottle caps that we can hold. Thank you, Joshua Graham. You may notice the game is now very, very orange. That's what the entire rest of the game looks like, and yeah, it hurts. Almost immediately, we're sent back to Seattle to dab on the hordes of homeless people. This is when Crimson One returns, and this time he's very mad. He nuked his house to kill you, and that didn't even work. This leads to a dogfight, which is the dogfight for Mission 11 with additional mental illness. It's clear from the dialogue that Crimson One is not used to losing. Let's help him learn. It's fucking creepy, dude. Jesus. Have a fucking Snickers. With that detour out of the way, it turns out that nukes didn't really help the Federation win. It just made a bunch of guys dress up like the fucking Romans. And with the UN on its last legs, there is one final stronghold for us to bomb. Los Angeles. Finally, we struggle to take the city, fighting foes in the air, on the seas, and attempting to flee my bullets. But after a long and arduous fight, we stand victorious over the city as the music begins to pick up in the background. God fucking damn it, he just does it again. Project Wingman's story is not a Homeric epic. It's not very realistic, nor is it reasonable on any level. But standing over the ruins of everyone that I hate, the sunny D flashing before my eyes, I come to the realization. Above all, Project Wingman is fun. None of the disparate parts of this schizophrenic game work by themselves. The combat is not Devil May Cry, the lore is not Tolkien, and we are not going to overcome our pride and prejudice. When you make a list, the game doesn't really seem that impressive. But like a chef, if we mix our ingredients well, cook at thermonuclear temperature, and add enough rat poison, we will create a spicy blend that's so out of this world, so balls to the wall, that it makes everything taste perfect. The motivation of our final boss makes no fucking sense. His arc is schizophrenia, and his obsession with you is fucking funny. I've never seen someone write a character based exclusively off of projection, but standing where I am now, there's no one I'd rather fight. He's the perfectly goofy antagonist for a game mostly comprised of clown behavior. The music, the drama, the retinal damage. This fight is as ridiculous as the rest of the game, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Historia. I said he made it blue to avoid copyright. Maybe. Although it only audio that usually gets copyrighted because I don't know.
I would like to thank my benevolent weapons manufacturers and defense contractors for funding
Holy
this channel
shit,
and enabling
dude.
my deadly purchases. If you want to contribute
it
towards
feels
the
like
channel and ensure perpetual conflict, you can head to my Patreon.
watching
to
this
learn
video
more.
feels like
Thank
you
all
just
of
took
for
some kind of
watching
drugs,
Fly,
dude.
and
I
of
don't know,
course, your salvation is
like
at
meth
hand.
or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what that feels like, but I imagine this is what it feels like to do acid or some shit. My eyes. Oh my god. I'm in shock. I've been overloaded. Wow, that was quality. That game, it looks so crazy, but it looks so fun at the same time. But he said it's in VR, didn't he? Well, you said you can play it, not in VR. Holy moly.